talking about home with intention, and now I want to talk about what sparks joy. So really think about this, because sometimes, we've just finished our summer break and you go on vacation and you're just enjoying the ocean and the sand. That seems so long ago already. And you need to think about all of those things that you just loved about where you were, what you did. Or if you were home all summer, what are the things that you did? Was it going to a pool and running through sprinklers with your little children? Reading more books? What are the things that spark joy? And what of your summer was that to you? And I want you to start to write that down. Now, remember, I'm always, let's have a notebook here or a journal, some paper, because we're going to keep taking notes. So I want you to really think about joy, because when we talk about home with intention, it's a home that nurtures and supports us and us as emotional humans, and us as people who go through hard and need a place that nurtures us and needs to support us. And so that is the driver for saying, okay, first we're really observing a lot of things about just our spaces and the people and the differences in how our family members or just ourselves and how we're wired. But now we're talking about joy, because we really want to figure out, okay, I'm working on my home, or these are the things I'm going to do, but where do I bring that element of joy into this? Because it's not just about a pretty sofa. Guys, it's not. It isn't. We do all the pretty things, and yes, it feels good, and yes, you deserve it, and it makes the spaces feel so different, which might be very nurturing for you. But we want to add the things that day to day gives you joy. So when we think about joy, and maybe it was the last trip you were on, okay, let's say you were at the beach. Close your eyes. And I want you to think about those senses, the sounds of the ocean, the smell of the salt water. Maybe you hear the birds, maybe you hear people playing, but I want you to pick out the senses, and I want you to write down just the one word of those senses, that the feel-good senses that are part of your joy experience while you're at the beach. You can do this if you're in your backyard. You can do this if you're sitting and reading a book to your 1-year-old before they go to sleep, and just pause and think about what about that moment is sparking joy. And I want you to write down the circumstance and then write down a few of those words. Now, what you're going to notice is if you do this through a different circumstances, pick a vacation, pick a trip you once went on. Maybe you haven't been on one in a while and you are recalling a trip that you once took, or maybe it's a memory with a parent. Maybe it's time reading, maybe it's cooking dinner, and food is a love language, and so you're in there cooking. I want you to think of what are the words, what are the senses. Maybe it's the peace you have while you're cooking because you're creating and your children are sitting at the table while you do that. Maybe it's a memory of a family member that's no longer with you, but you just remember something about their laugh. I want one word, just one word descriptions. It's a sensory kind of dive, if you will. One word descriptions, but pick different circumstances. Maybe it's 4 different vacations. I don't know. If you're a world traveler, yay for you. That sounds awesome. So pick several circumstances or a handful, and I want you to pick the words that you attribute to those times. And the interesting thing about that is I want you to then go back and look at each circumstance and those words. And I want you to have a piece of paper with just a list of the words that are repeating themselves. What are the words, every circumstance that you see repeated? And it's really interesting because then these are the things that really give you an elevated joy, because that's what you find the most in a situation. Maybe it's the companionship piece. Maybe it's just the love. Maybe it's the serenity moment that you have. Those moments, those are the moments that we want to see repeated and that we want to make sure you're bringing into a place that's supposed to nurture how you're doing. So when you're going through looking at what gives me joy, what sparks joy, could even be something simple as mundane tasks, because they're not if we make them into, look how helpful I'm being. Vacuuming my house is not a chore. I'm actually singing and dancing with my earbuds on. These are the types of things that could be something like that, that, you know, like I like the moments. These are moments on my own that everyone else is doing things. These are the moments where I can kind of tune into something for myself, listening to my favorite playlist. So whatever it is, if you repeat the same thing and you notice it throughout different circumstances, make a list just for those. And you might end up having 5 items that you see repeated. But that's the point of doing this in a variety of areas. So that's what I want you to do.